Hey, this is Michelle, and you're listening to Words with Michelle, the podcast, a show where I sit down and have conversations with influencers on a range of topics, anything from natural hair, employment, discrimination, food, relationships, and everything in between. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. If you want to send me an email, hit me up at michelle@wordsmichelle.com. Welcome back to Words with Michelle, the podcast, a podcast where I, your host Michelle, spotlights inspiring change makers, innovators, and voices you need to hear. I want to start off saying thank you for tuning into the latest episode and the last episode for 2025. It's been about 2 months since my last episode, and this show addresses why I had to quickly put the show on yet another hiatus. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Words with Michelle on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts. If you enjoyed today's episode, leave a comment or review. It helps me to grow and share more inspiring stories like this. As you've noticed, I've taken a few breaks throughout this year, and my last break, I mentioned that it was due to dealing with menopause, as well as dealing with family matters. I kind of stretched the truth a bit. I am dealing with menopause, but I am also a full-time caregiver for an elderly parent. I need to be honest and say that it is one of the toughest jobs that I've had to undertake. It's physically and mentally demanding. It's not just taking care of my mom, it's watching her rapid decline, physically and cognitively. It is something that I wasn't prepared for. It has made me incredibly sad, frustrated, and at times full of despair. It's so painful to see the person who was the strongest woman I know become a completely different person. I've spent many days at my computer just crying, trying to make sense of it all. We all know that our parents will get older, but you don't think about them changing. They are no longer as resilient as they once were. They tend to forget, and unfortunately, their moods change. Not saying that every senior goes through this, but I've spoken with a few friends, and they've mentioned that their parents are exhibiting the same behavior. In result of handling this new reality, I've reached out for support from a caregiver support organization, and it has helped me immensely. The counselors have helped me to learn to navigate this new life, but not just taking care of my mom, but taking care of myself. Being a caregiver, I need to provide assistance in most areas of my mom's life, scheduling and taking my mom to appointments, preparing meals, paying bills, and more. This usually takes up my entire day, so by the time I have finished helping my mom, I am not physically or mentally able to work on my podcast or even post social media content. I turn on my laptop with the intention of doing some work, but I end up sitting on the couch and watching TV. At first, I welcomed the break because I enjoy the freedom of not having to publish shows every 2 weeks, because that can be grueling. But recently, I began to miss my podcast, miss being creative, and I crave the conversations I had on the show. I also really miss meeting new people. During my time off, I also felt guilty for not completing shows that I started way back in summertime. I've actually had one of my interviews on hold for over 4 months. But I honestly had no energy to complete anything. But on Boxing Day, the day after I hosted a Christmas party with my family, I decided that it's time to get back into publishing my podcast. I love it, I miss it, and it's my form of self-care. So I wanted to create this mini check-in episode to briefly share with you what's been going on in my life. Taking care of my mom has shifted some of my priorities. I still will continue to tend to my mom because she's my mom and I love her, as well as taking care of my own creative needs, as well as work on my show on a somewhat regular basis. I wanted to provide you with a rundown of my year and a best of 2025 episode, but I will save that for a future episode in January, where I celebrate my 6 years of podcasting. So thanks for listening to my check-in. I felt I owed it to you. You've been such a loyal audience. Special shout outs go to my friends and family who've listened to and supported me during the past few months. I love you. So thanks again for listening to the show. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to share, rate, and subscribe on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Before I end this episode, I would like you to know that the show was sponsored by my book, Words with Michelle, Inspirational Conversations with Today's Black Canadian Changemakers, a book that supports the amplification and continuation of Black Canadian stories. Words with Michelle is available on Amazon and Indigo. Happy reading, y'all. Thanks for listening to the show, and until next time, bye.